Well, greetings this morning, wherever you are, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO. This is a weekly success circle for solopreneurs. And we get together because we enjoy each other's company. We like experimenting and exchanging ideas and information. We all give and receive support to one another. And also, I might just state that if you haven't had a look at our operating principles, the things that we all agreed some time ago now as to what we stand for, you'll find it on my website page, where I hope that that's where you're currently watching this. So good morning.
You may want to... Good morning, Lola, and you may want to unwhite box me.
Yes, I just realized I was looking at something else. So I think the first thing that order of business is for us to do some introductions. So basically, for anybody who hasn't done one of these before, I'll call out and you can unmute yourself and then introduce yourself, say your name and your business, what you do and where you are, and maybe just one sentence about what's new or anything that you would like to share. And then when you're finished, it's a good idea to mute yourself so that if your doorbell rings or the dog barks, it won't disturb the recording. So usually I point to the person that got here first, and I'm going to do that this morning, even though Bill, he's always the first one here. But I'm really curious to hear about what you've been up to, Bill. So how would you like to introduce yourself first?
I guess by unmuting myself. My name is Bill Graham. I'm coming to you this morning from beautiful Belize, where I have a website, billdoesbelize.com, wherever it is, somewhere there, where I share the unbelievable truth, or what I refer to, well, I refer to it as the unbelievable truth, to help people make an informed decision about making a permanent move to Belize.
And you were working with some people this week. Were they Canadians?
Yeah.
Where did they come from? Tell us about it.
They were Canadians. They came from Quebec, just outside of Montreal somewhere. I can't remember the name of the town. But yeah, it's been the natural progression of my providing information is that people are now approaching me to help them kind of see the country. They feel safer with somebody who knows their way around. So I've been getting requests more and more lately to actually do that, do more familiarize. I don't really promote Belize, or I don't condemn the culture of Belize. I just try and share the truth and help people questions that a lot of times they don't even know to ask.
Ah.
So that's what I've been up to.
Right on. Well, that sounds like fun. So I was looking for the second person who came in, and he's suddenly missing. So Nathan, if you're out there, come on back in. So let's see. I think Fred, you might have been the next person to come on.
Can you hear me? Just checking that I've unmuted myself. I'm Fred Jones. I'm also located in Victoria, British Columbia in Canada. I create a group of young people, and I call them our future leaders. It's a cutting edge online group where I coach young people, help them with their communication skills, leadership skills, help build their self-confidence, and assist them when they enter adulthood, because there's going to be, as we know, a lot of changes coming, so they help them with that. Right
on. So, and you're hoping to use a platform similar to this. Right on.
Everyone's been very helpful. I really enjoy coming because I learn a lot, and there are a lot of, as we know, challenges using Google Hangouts. So I've learned how to overcome some of them. There's still a lot more I'm learning.
Well, join the club. We all are.
Right.
So welcome here, Fred. I'm glad you made it. Let's see. I think, Susan, you might have been the next one.
Okay. So Lolan, you're black. Your screen is black to me, so I can't see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, thank you for inviting me this morning. And I don't consider myself particularly at all proficient in Google Hangouts. So this is really interesting. I've been a counselor and psychotherapist for 27 years. I'm in transition. I'm moving towards being a coach, working with people who are successful professionals, helping them move into a retirement that works for them. So I'm people who are asking themselves, who am I without a business card and my name on the door? And so I want to niche into that because I've been working kind of in much more general practice, and I'm excited to narrow it down a lot. I'm in Victoria, and I can actually hear some thunder, and I'm in Fernwood, so I'm right downtown pretty much.
Right on. Yeah. And for anybody out there, Susan and I did an interview not long ago. So if you're interested in hearing more about what she does and where she's going, you could find that video on my Google Plus collection called, I forget what the collection's called.
Let's see. One choice at a time, something like that.
What makes solopreneurs tick, I think is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. Anyway, so welcome here. I'm so
thank you.
So glad you made it. So do you know where the mute button is?
You know what? On my little thing, I don't have a mute button.
Yes, you do. If you mouse over the top of your screen, you'll see some little icons, and you'll see a little microphone there.
Aha.
Yeah. So, okay, let's see. Who was next? Well, I think, Jay, it might have been you. So why don't you go next?
Sounds good. Just letting you know, my internet seems to be a little dodgy right now for some reason. So if I fade in and out, I apologize. My name is Jay. My company is Magi Studios, and we help people get started in the world of online marketing through coach, consulting, and training. Back to you, Laulen.
Welcome here, Jay. It's good to have you. And he's out in Langford, which is part of Victoria. Let's see. Alana, I think you might have been next.
Okay. My name's Alana. I'm coming to you from Ireland, and I am running a site called emptynesterblog.com, where I am helping people who are empty nesters
Oh, it looks like there's a freeze going on there. We didn't hear the last bit from Alana.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so I was just, let's see. I run a site called emptynester.blog.com, and it's basically a site that helps people find online marketing opportunities and to help them learn how to make money online.
Right on. That one worked. So welcome here. Good to have you. And did you say you were in Ireland?
I am in Ireland. Yep, 20 years now.
Wow. So glad you could make it. Now then, I think maybe Roland might have been the next one to make it.
Hi, thank you. I'm Roland from MinMax Media, and we preach the minimum you need for the maximum impact. Wow, the lips are not quite moving right. And well, I should know better than to create a tongue twister and a lip stumbler for a slogan. Anyway, we sponsor the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. I co-host the show with Bill Graham, and Bill Graham, by the way, from the Green Room, is going to be the featured guest this Saturday. And he's going to talk about his Bill Does Beliefs website and the strategies and the various things to build his own outreach. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to that. Cool. Thank you and welcome here, Roland. And thank you for the music, as always. My swamp stomp music. I always have to giggle at the name of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Heidi, I think you were the next one here.
Yeah, I'm Heidi in Italy, and I'm in holiday mood because today I'm here as the host of Paradiso Integrale, which is our local space of a cultural association. And I had for a whole week 15 guests, and I had to cook from the morning to the evening and prepare the rooms, and now I'm washing all the sheets. And so this is at the moment my work. And then at the end of the work, I will transition into a Hangout host again. So the website is thewisdomfactory.net for the shows, and for our place, which this website is in work, is Paradiso Integrale, but you can see some videos there about the fun which is happening here.
Right. So, and you look as though you're in relaxation mode right now, out on
I'm in relaxation mode, and I'm outside in the courtyard. Here's a covered part, and over there, for instance, there is a big courtyard, one house and the other house, and at the end of here is the big Tiber Valley. You cannot see it from here, but it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Right. So welcome here. Happy to see you again. Now let's see. Oh, Tim, I think you slid in just at the last minute. Good morning, Tim.
As usual, busy working away since early this morning and almost forgot the clock again. Thank you for putting up with me sliding in at the last minute. I'm
okay.
Tim Longwell with Longwell Art, and we help people gain happiness through creativity and peace. Hashtag create for contentment. And one of the ways we do that is we help teach them and learn so they can learn how to turn their dreams, ideas, memories, and photos into works of art.
Right on. Which is sort of a side, I don't know if it's a main line or a sideline, but I can tell you guys that I would be in a mess if it weren't for Tim over the last week or so in terms of fixing some really weird things on my website. So thank you for that, Tim.
My pleasure.
So,
and I am in Southeast Oklahoma, by the way.
Oh, yes, you're in Oklahoma. Yeah, right on. So I see some people have their lower thirds on, and I can see somebody trying to give Susan some instruction. But but I think I'm not going to, mine disappeared because I did a refresh. So I had it there, and I'm not going to take the time to try to do that, because I think it's important. Everybody's here, I'm thinking, because they're interested in the topic for this morning. And last time we were talking about editing, different ways to edit our YouTube videos, and out of that we thought maybe it would make sense to explore the whole concept of promoting our YouTube videos. So we started this a little bit of this conversation in the green room beforehand. We're noticing that there's some things that are kind of different about Hangouts on Air, and we've even already experienced some of the difficulties that are there. I think some people in the green room said that the screen is green when I'm black when I'm speaking. So I don't know if the screen is black for everybody, because I was the one who had to refresh. So I don't know. Anyway, we talked about the difference between a YouTube event and a YouTube live stream. And we were sort of, I was in my own mind going, well, okay, so an event is really a Hangout on Air. It's the old Hangout on Air, which you can schedule ahead of time, etc. And you can take that link and put it into the VCP plugin that's on the website, etc. So I guess the big question will be if Hangouts on Air disappears and YouTube really tries to leave us with live stream event, how will we make that work on our websites? Yes, after the event is over, you can embed a video from YouTube, but what about hosting it live? So I'm not sure how that's going to work. And Roland, I just wondered whether you have given any thought to that in terms of the VCP plugin. Has that been a concern of yours?
Certainly has. And let me make sure somebody has speakers on there. But what we're trying to do is you look at the options for the VCP plugin, because the main thing is that we have an event in our homepage of our website.
Right.
And if we can't use the Hangouts on Air platform in YouTube, I'm looking at the Be Live concept as an alternative. And each one has its pros and cons as far as the overall production of an event in general. But Be Live is a fabulous platform, and I'm looking at it as an alternative. And at least we would have myself as a host, Bill as a co-host, and one other person. And they have a backup lobby area where you can have 7 more people in queue ready to come into the green room live. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty good platform. It's different, and it has limitations that would not be appropriate for your show or my show, but a lot of people are going to find ways to make really good use of Be Live.
I wonder what would happen to people that are using Hangouts, though, as seeing how Be Live is a Facebook product.
Yeah.
Similar to YouTube Live.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they'll definitely have to migrate or lose contact. I think it's all about building a whole new following on Facebook and then directing them to your website. But if you're directing them to the website, it won't really matter where the live stream is being generated from. If they're used to going to your website, the Be Live production and the Hangout production will be equitably the same as far as the overall the audience that's used to going to your website. So that was the whole point of it in the first place.
Yeah, and I was saying that I've noticed that a lot of people are using Zoom right now as well. However, our topic this morning is about YouTube and YouTube videos, and how do we promote those YouTube videos. And I mean, yeah, there are a lot of people on YouTube. So I'm not about to abandon the whole idea of YouTube just yet. So I throw out a question for everybody. How many of us in the room here today actually have YouTube videos? Or maybe you could just kind of wave to. So Tim, yes. Who's that? Oh, that's Jay in the background, and Fred, and Roland, Alana. So it looks like we all have YouTubes. We all have YouTube videos. So that is that's interesting for us to realize. Okay, so how do you promote them, or do you promote them? What kind of methodologies have you been using up until now? And I can start, because what I've been using is I've been using the Google Plus community platform to promote mine, and also the Facebook group, my Facebook group. So those are the two ways that I've been promoting. But I'm just wondering about others. How are you promoting your videos? And I see Jay is asking for the conch. Go ahead, Jay.
Thank you. One of the first things I do is I make sure that I want to make sure everyone understands that a YouTube video is the same as a blog post. It's just a different medium. Okay. I find that a lot of people tend to think that, okay, it's a YouTube video, now I have to promote it differently than a blog post, which in my opinion really isn't the case. So that being said, I'll do my, what I like to call my 7 steps to actually do that, and it starts with, even before doing the video, doing the keyword research to find, words that people are actually searching for. So once the video is produced, upload it to YouTube. And what I like to do is also add it and embed it on my site and actively promote it that way. So then, because when you embed your video on a blog post, you're basically doubling the power of the internet, marketing machine, if you will, because then you can utilize the power of WordPress or whatever blogging platform you're using to put the keywords in, and to put that in Google Search Console, which is a free tool by Google, otherwise known as Google Webmaster Tools. And you can do all these different things, and not only will it help you promote the actual video, but it will also promote the actual blog post and your website. Mm-hmm. So, and essentially, I think most, unless you're like one of those YouTubers where you're doing daily videos to earn money through advertisements, you're not really, driving traffic to a website. And I'm thinking everyone here is trying to drive traffic to a website. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing YouTube videos, just remember to push people back to your website, because the world of YouTube is a very distracting place. I mean, it's like having 10 laser pointers being pointed at you with these different things that are all over the YouTube channel, right? Ranging from ads, commercials, other videos on the side, and so on and so forth. So it's a very distracting environment. And I've always said, you don't want to be running your business off of leased land, and YouTube is leased land. So drive them back to your site where you control, what you can.
Well, and that's what we were talking about earlier, about even from the point of view of being able to host a session on your website. I mean, that's the purpose of it all. I might share with everyone, I did watch a few things yesterday, and I'm sure most of you might be aware of Roberto. He is one of those YouTubers who has millions of followers. And I watched one of his pieces, and he, on the topic of promoting and getting more viewers. And he also said, be sure to have a website and be sure to sort of put those two things together. So even the one of the most popular YouTubers is suggesting the same thing. So the other piece
I'm glad he took my advice.
Right. The other thing that he suggested, which I thought was really interesting, I'd never heard or thought of this before, and I made a mental note to mention it. He suggested that you use a hashtag in the title of your YouTube video. So as Jay was saying, do your keyword search, etc., but be careful, be thoughtful about how you name the video. Make it so that people know what it's about, but then also make use of a hashtag within the title, because he talked about how then if it gets posted to Twitter, the hashtag is already there, and that the fact that there are all kinds of other platforms that are making use of hashtags. So that was one thing that he suggested. And
I think what you're talking about, Lowland, is one of the things that I think is very important if you're going to take advantage of YouTube, and that's to take some time not just to create the video and upload it, but take the same amount of time to actually optimize it by creating a good description, a great title. If you can if you're doing topics, it's always handy to have timestamps in it. And that'll get it out on the YouTube platform, which will help draw new people. Now, ultimately, when I share it, I mean, that's the first thing I do is I try to optimize it. But then secondly, I share it on my Facebook page, not so much to the public, but on my page. I embed it on my website. I have one page specifically for videos on Belize, and I share it to my Google collection. And I also often share them out on Twitter. But the link always brings people back to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm a little different than some other people in here in the sense that, first of all, I recognize the audience on YouTube may be different than the people who read my website, people who want to watch as opposed to people who don't mind reading. But I also know from my experience that I would prefer to watch a video than to read lots of content. So that's why I include it on my website. But the fact that I'm just trying to inform people, it's a little different for me, where I can consider my YouTube audience a completely different audience and optimize for them, as opposed to somebody who actually has to make sure that the people get to their website to see their product and to ultimately buy from them. So I think it depends on how you use it, what you're using it for, and
yeah. So it's really clear. It's really important to be clear about what it is you want, first of all, who your audience is and what it is you want them to do. If you're not clear about that to begin with, then it can be all over the place. So what was the other thing? I think a lot of the videos that I watched yesterday on YouTube were much more about how to get more viewers on your YouTube channel. So, and probably because a lot of those people have monetized their videos. So for them, the big deal is to attract as many people to their YouTube channel, so that they'll watch the channel, and then the creator would make money off of that. So it's going to be really important, as I say, to be clear about what it is you want people to do. And as Bill is saying, and as I've been saying, most of us want people to come back to our website. So, so what about others? Alana, what about you? How do you promote your videos?
Well, I have very few videos at the minute because one of the reasons why I wanted to attend today was to hear the other ideas on how to promote YouTube videos. And my channel has gone through a few different transitions. So there's only a few out there. And because I've been experimenting with different software, they're kind of crap. But my ideas going forward would be to put my logo at the bottom of the video, either at the beginning or the end of the video, to have a description of what is in the video, and to use keywords that are available. There's actually spaces in your YouTube video setup when you upload it where you can put in keywords and things like that. So with that in mind, now that I have a new laptop and I'm basically, hitting the ground running, I can start to explore that more. But that's where I'm going with my ideas at the minute.
One of the things I should mention, and it's kind of serendipitous that we're talking about this week, is because this week, Inside Wealthy Affiliate, I'm actually going to be posting a YouTube video live. And it directly correlates to last week's live training session. So yeah, so I'll already have the video produced, and it'll be from the point of uploading it to posting it and doing all the steps that happen there. So so Alana, you'll get to hopefully take a nap and stay up at 2 a.m. and watch that live.
Yeah, that's what I'll have to do, no doubt.
I had, it's funny,
but I will attend. That sounds good.
It's funny. I had someone say, I'd appreciate it if you, Jay, stayed up at 2 a.m. so that I can watch it at 5 p.m.
Well, it's a good thing your videos are recorded. People can go back and watch them. That's for sure. So will you be trying to drive people back to your website, Alana?
Yes, because what my idea was, I'm not sure how effective this is. Maybe someone else can jump in here. I've seen a lot of videos where they have the website name that runs along the bottom portion of the video, and it can run anywhere from the beginning or the end or both, or all the way through. And I'm not sure what the best plan of action there is, but yeah, I'd love to hear some other ideas on that. But I definitely want to make sure that the name is there. So I'm going to save it twice. Here's my idea. I'm going to save my video twice. One to upload on YouTube and the other one to put onto my website. One has the website name and one won't have the website name. So the one that's on the website won't have the website name on it because it's already there. But on YouTube, I'll make sure to put the website name on there somewhere.
Right. So I'm sorry for the other folks. There's another conversation happening text-wise that is popping up and is quite distracting. So, Heidi, what about you? How are you promoting your YouTube videos? Because I know you do have them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I am a little bit distracted because there is a young man who is helping me to get water into my water tank, because here is the problem with water, and this year it hasn't rained. So anyway, yeah, YouTube. I do a whole lot of things. I do all the tags, all the keywords. I do the description, but I now lately, since I have the VP, the plugin, and we video broadcast on the website, I always write in the description more information and comments, please, on the website, and I give them the link. Then inside the video, I do end screen annotations, or how it's called, and I put cards in. And promotion, I often write a blog post embedding then the video, not often, but I hope now in summer, when we have the interruption of the live broadcast, I probably will go back and take some and write a blog post about it, and do an article about it. And what else do we do? Yeah, on Google Plus, in community, but our community is sort of dead. Only the one in Facebook is working. Also there we promote it quite in several groups also. And yeah, that's what we do. It's a lot what we do. The outcome is there, but not, gigantic.
Well, it sounds like, Heidi, it's clearly working, because you have young men serving you water, so you have some sort of success there. I mean, which is fantastic.
Yeah. It's good.
So
yeah.
I did notice that one of the 2 or 3 videos that I watched, one of the guys mentioned where the best places to post links to your YouTube. So he talked about LinkedIn, that there is a way that you can share a YouTube in LinkedIn. And he also talked about Google Plus communities as being one of the most successful that he has found. So Google Plus community rather than Google Plus event. He made a distinction between the two. And a couple of other things that came up in, I can't remember whose video now, which jumped out for me was, I mean, there are a couple of other platforms out there where it's people are more in tune with visuals. So there was quite a bit of talk about posting videos on Pinterest, for example, which I'd never really thought about. So I spent a bit of time yesterday figuring out how to upload a vlog to Pinterest. And the other one was Instagram. And to be able to, the Instagram videos that have to be very short, but apparently there is a way to do that. What I did hear, but from more than one person, was there is no point in posting a link to a video, a YouTube video on Facebook, because it won't be seen. Because it's seen as a competitor to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is why you should have your video embedded on a blog post.
Yeah.
I would like to talk to you about Instagram when I have a chance, but I think there's some other people that want to chime in first.
Yeah. Okay. So, Fred, what about you? How are you? Have you done any videos? And if so, what do you think about promotion?
I'm not in the stage yet for a lot of promotion. I'm still trying to set up the videos. I've done some videos, but I've kept them private until I get something that I think would be of interest. This is a very interesting topic to me. And I'm glad you're recording it, because I will have to go back and review, especially when I get to the stage that I need to promote the videos. My biggest challenge currently is I'm trying to herd a bunch of cats or young people, I mean, they're almost the same, and invite them, and they say, oh, I didn't get the invitation. So I'm sitting, and this is a topic that at some point in time would be very helpful to me. How do I know they've got my invitations? I've tried different methods, and I won't go into the details now.
Right.
But what are the best methods? And I know you've used a couple of methods, such as the email and the direct method. Get them into the green room. Once I have that, I think the videos will be extremely. I do have Facebook. I do have a blog that I promote, so I would do that. But this is a fantastic topic for me because I will need to promote them a lot more. So currently I'm not doing it, but I definitely will have the needs.
Oh. Bill, I think has something to share.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that Andrew Hatchett has joined us today. He made a comment earlier about the Believe platform, where he said the only problem with Be Live is it will be a paid service once it comes out of beta. So that's something else to consider before you start transferring all your eggs into that basket.
Thank you. I'd already thought about that. So Roland, what about you? I mean, I know that you've been using, in the past, you've been using the Google event page, which doesn't work for me, but does work for everybody else, or most everybody else. But what are your thoughts about how you plan on promoting?
Well, the first thing is we should clarify why it does not work for you. It's because of your G Suite connection, and it's kind of like a technicality that becomes a problem. But I do use Google Plus events mainly for the outreach to connect with the people, because I've found that connecting through an invitation to my circles is very effective for the people who want to come to the events. And for the outreach, it does that. But I always drive people to my website. One of the things that we need to remember is if we're concerned with SEO and the YouTube influence with Google, then Hangouts on Air cannot be beat, really, because the first thing is to play a Hangout on Air live stream, you have to integrate and verify your website with your channel and with your YouTube account. Therefore, it actually strengthens the bond so that when you produce a video and then place the video from YouTube channel into your website, that is all actually something that Google really loves, because they're saying, oh, you use YouTube, you're going after Google search results, and like we like you using my stuff, so I'm going to give you some extra kudos, and it's very handy that way. Bill has a comment that wants to bring in. I'd like to come back.
Okay. I just saw that.
Yes, this is another comment from Andrew, and it goes back to optimizing your videos, and it reminds me of a saying I have: if we follow the masses, sometimes the M is silent. But basically, he's agreeing with Jay. Didn't really make his point, but he did. Andrew kind of does. He says, "I've read that using the hashtag symbol interfere with searching on YouTube and is discouraged," and that's something that I've read too, because it gets read by the bots or whatever a little bit differently, is one reason, I believe. But that's an important comment from Andrew, I think.
Yeah, I was trying to be politically nice in the comments. Like I personally, I think I would never put hashtag in a title.
I think what they were referencing was that hashtags like the ampersand sign that we use for and, which is Shift-7 on a keyboard. If you'll notice on a website, sometimes where instead of the word, that ampersand symbol, you'll get 20% the word and 20%. And that will affect how you will rank in search because of the way that gets converted to computer language for the search table. And that's what they're talking about on that. Not using those symbols so that you don't get the extra characters to interfere with your targeting.
Isn't it odd that this guy who claims to be the biggest YouTube advisor suggested that?
Could we go back a second? I want to
Yeah.
talk about hashtags briefly, because I use a hashtag in every single Smarties show. And the reason that I do that is that if you Google the hashtag, every single show that I've done since history started comes up under that hashtag. And I just, it's all me. So if I want someone to find content from my show, I just tell them, put this hashtag in. And everything that I do will come up. So what is the problem with hashtags, Jay? In the title.
Well, I think it's just a different mentality, I guess, for me, because I always go for the keyword, getting stuff inside Google beyond custom hashtag. So custom hashtag, people already have to have known your site. Known your video or known your channel. Then they leave, and then they have to come back using that hashtag. I think the whole hashtag thing is a bubble that's about to burst. Now from a functional perspective, I think the way that you're doing, I think it's fine. The way that I use YouTube videos, I want people to Google something and then my video comes up. So that's my acquisition. So lead acquisition for me is not about using hashtags. I've never used hashtags before. So, and it's worked fine, but that's not, I've never really been big on social media in the first place, because I find that social media is a little bit of a distraction for people. So I rely on search traffic and email marketing traffic for my lead acquisitions. And for me, that works good. Just because a hashtag exists doesn't mean that, everyone has to use it. Same with like what LA was saying about, oh, well, I heard about putting videos in Pinterest. So I did that. But perhaps maybe LA's audience isn't on Pinterest. So, so there's a thing where you have to kind of cut it off and say, well, don't do it just because someone else said so, or just because it exists. Someone like this YouTuber saying, oh yeah, you could put your video in YouTube, right? Put your YouTube video on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's a great source. Like, who goes to LinkedIn? So, I mean, I don't go to LinkedIn, right? So, and I know it's a very popular thing.
A lot of people go to LinkedIn.
Oh, absolutely. It's not my audience though. So, I mean, I've always been someone personally to just pave my own path through experimentation versus doing something because someone else told me. And I know there's an irony to that, because part of what I do is tell people what to do with search and stuff. So, but it's all based on my own experience and my own trial and error. So
it's like everything. I mean, hashtag is a tool. If you use it properly, it can probably be beneficial. But it seems to me, in my opinion, that hashtags were always good for indexing stuff and for people to maybe find you again. But what's the chance that somebody is going to actually in search? I think what Jay is saying is more correct. And your title is very limited, is a very limited space to optimize to be found. So it seems to me that using a keyword will give you much better traffic than using a hashtag.
Yes, and I find that hashtags can actually take your audience away versus bringing them in. Classic examples inside Instagram, you're posting your stuff and then you put your hashtags and it says YYJ, which is our airport code here in Victoria. And many times whenever people in Victoria will post that, they'll put the hashtag YYJ or YYJ business or whatever. And what people tend to do is then they'll click that, right? Because it becomes a clickable link, and then it takes them away from your stuff so that they can peruse everyone else's stuff. I mean, that's just my 2 cents about it. So.
Well,
but that's not to say they don't have a place in your description in other areas.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, Bill, is maybe the title is not the best place, but because I've been using hashtags in the tags down below. But I've never, I'm not, well, actually, yes, I'm starting to get a sense of when I get, when people sort of search on that, that hashtag. I have seen numbers from YouTube Buddy or from TubeBuddy. So it appears that it kind of works to put those tags in at least. I don't know whether they need to be hashtags or not.
But they kind of have to be a known quantity. For me to expect to attract new people by putting hashtag Bill Does Belize in the title of my video is kind of,
yeah, it's
kind of not going to work for me, because who's going to actually search that?
Right. So you got to pay attention to keywords. That's the whole thing in terms of what the title is. It also has to really give people some sense of what it's about. So Tim, I think I saw you waving at one point. Were you looking to chime in?
Well, I tried, but I didn't want to just stomp all over everybody.
I saw you.
The thing,
stomp here.
There's nothing wrong with hashtags, and it's like we've had this discussion on different shows ever since Google Hangouts came out, and social media started really getting pushed several years ago. It's called judicious use and reasonable use of your hashtags. There are going to be times it's going to work for you in one location. There's going to be times where it's going to work for you in another location of your post. And still yet another time is it could prove detrimental using hashtags. And that's true whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or Google Plus or whatever else might be out there, because the social media platforms are just innumerable. They're almost as numbered as there are occupations now. So that's one of the things you need to watch about your hashtags. And as regarding your tagging them in the tags, those using a hashtag as a tag, like for example, with my marketing and programming is create for contentment. Well, that can be in quotes as a tag to search for, with the word and with the number 4, but it can also be a hashtag create for contentment, because then that hashtag comes up, because one of the things in my marketing I'll be doing is offering different apparel and items that have that create for contentment hashtag printed on them, like coffee mugs, t-shirts, that sort of thing, so that people not necessarily aware of it because they've never seen me on YouTube, never been to my website or whatever, but they see me walking through town or at the fair, or I'm traveling for whatever reason to visit relatives in another town or whatever. If I have that hashtag on, it's going to trigger, because hashtags in our environment today stick in memory. But we do have to remember we have to consider where and how they're going to be used, whether they're going to be beneficial or detrimental. As Jay said, are they distracting? How they're going to affect your search if you put them in the title, and where you put them in the title. So there's a lot of things, and it's going to be different for every instance you use or don't use that hashtag.
So it's a little.
That's a great point, Jim. And Alana made the comment in the chat that maybe use hashtags within the description of a video, like when people create tweets on Twitter. And that's a very important distinction. I mean, Twitter is a hashtag driven, you have 140 characters to say what you want to say in an image. So I would be silly not to put hashtag Belize when I say information on Belize in a Twitter post, but it may not be appropriate in a Google post.
Right. Okay.
So
Roland has been waving. He's itching to say something.
Well, I've practically forgotten what I want to say now. But when we're talking about all these tools, the big misnomer is you hear about something and how someone else uses it and say, oh, I guess I have to do that. And it's not necessarily true. It may be, but you have to find out for your outreach whether it fits or not. And there are other things too. We're talking about how to use a tool and use it in a platform, and it very well may be that nobody's talking about your subject in that platform. So you have to go where your audience is and then use the proper tool. And sometimes hashtags are good, sometimes they're unimportant. But the main thing to do is do the basics and then go out into the social media world and find your audience and start communicating and integrating with them. And that's when you start learning where your audience is. And it's very seldom that a marketer or someone else is going to be able to tell you, here's where you have to go and here's what you have to do. You have to do the research with your marketer to figure out where the best platforms, the best areas are, and then use the right tools. So it's got to be custom designed no matter what.
So that goes to a point that I was thinking of saying, and that is when you, for me, looking at Pinterest as a possible place to put and figuring out how to do it, that's a process of experimentation for me. Let's go there and see whether that has any impact whatsoever. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
I think that the two things you would do is to go to Pinterest and find out what exchange and conversations are going on around your subject, and then do a little bit of experimentation, because just because you don't find anything doesn't mean that you can't ignite a fire. But it does mean that maybe you'll have to use your wits and creativity to find a way in and start the conversation. Because once a conversation starts, people are people, and we are all over in all platforms. And for any one of us, there's bound to be enough people to join into a conversation, but it all comes back down to the reach, relativity, relevance, and being able to set yourself up with the proper tools and the right SEO basics so that you can be found on any platform. And then you're going to find out whether the conversation can go or not. But even though you get found, even though you do everything perfectly, the conversation may not exist.
Well, and then that leads to something else that I heard from 2 or 3 of the videos that I watched, and that was engagement. It doesn't matter what platform you decide you're going to go to, you got to go there and you got to engage.
A much misunderstood
stuff, yeah.
A very much misunderstood term. Engagement is the exchange and involvement of more than one person. It's not a one-way outbound outreach. It's actually drawing people in and connecting with them and discussing something in common. And that's where the engagement starts. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So there's Andrew says, I just asked in the YouTube product forum about using hashtag in the title video. So I wonder what answer he will get.
Well, that was why I thought it was a great comment, because it lends perfectly to what Roland just said, is that you can't just assume what works for somebody somewhere will work for you everywhere. You kind of have to, you have to go to the platforms, you have to see what other people are doing. You have to ask questions. Google is a great place because they have a forum for everything. Facebook, maybe not so much, but yeah, you have to familiarize yourself and see what works and what doesn't work.
Absolutely. Now, Nathan, I saw you dropped off and you came back, and I wanted to acknowledge that you're here. And I also know that you've done a number of videos. So how do you promote yours?
Well, it's been through a number of different things, like not so much on a blog, but one of the things that I've done learned about this a while ago was a couple of tools called Social Quant and Social Oomph for Twitter. And what I've done is experiment with different type of posts on Twitter. So what I would do is create a post with an image, and I would embed the actual statement that I was using in the actual image, as well as a bit.ly link or something like that at the bottom of the image. And then post these things on a rotating schedule using Social Oomph. And at one point I was getting a tremendous amount of traffic. Trouble is, the offer I was using wasn't working, and I wound up just turfing it. But it astonished me as to how well it can work if you get the right combination in terms of traffic. And Social Oomph will allow you to set tweets that will run 24 hours a day, as many times as you want them to show, and you can change them up and do all sorts of things with them. So it can be very effective that way. In terms of the YouTube videos, I mean, sometimes it's been hit and miss. I had a viral video a few years ago for a guy fishing in La Paz here in Mexico. And it went viral, and I wasn't even aware of it. The only thing I was aware of one day is suddenly I had a check from Google because I'd monetized it with AdWords. And it just kept going and going and going. It finally topped out at 2.3 million. But I didn't do anything special. And the amount of people hating
He's
that.
not talking about dollars that he made.
No, it's views.
Actually talking about dollars, I made about $1,500 off it. But the views was 2.3 million views. Yeah. And it was really strange. I don't know why it went viral. I have no idea. And it was a crappy video too. So I wound up using video zoom on my camera, and I didn't realize that it was just cutting out pixels to make it look like it's going in instead of optical. It was, I don't know.
Well, I have that raises something else, Nathan. Thank you.
Sure.
It also raises. I mean, it should be obvious, but great content that is going to attract your audience. So
it actually was pretty good content to a point, but I made one mistake in the video, which was why so many people hated it, and I didn't show the bucket of fish that the guy had caught. And it was only 59 seconds long, and I turned off the sound because there was so much wind noise. So I just turned it off. And I mean, if you saw it, you would laugh, but I don't know why it went viral. But it was on a pertinent topic.
Yeah.
I just made that one mistake, but it still got a lot of views.
It got views because people were laughing at it, maybe.
I don't know. If you saw it, you would just be going, my God, like 80% of the people who watched it, who commented on it, hated it.
Well.
And it made money, so,
There's more than one way to skin a cat, the fellow says.
That's what my father used to say.
Something that they just love or something they just hate.
Sometimes it's you can do better if people really hate it, which is kind of odd. It's counterintuitive, but
I was going to reinforce that very statement that he just made. Look at the Wendy's commercials lately. If you see television at all, think about what they're doing in the Wendy's commercial.
Wendy's?
The Wendy's hamburgers.
Oh, Wendy's. Oh, okay.
They've got one guy that he's a real pain, and he's very dislikable. And then you've got the other guy that may or may not be likable, but he's the straight man. So it kind of reminds me of kind of the playoff that Don Rickles used to use in his comedy routine. But they're basically using a negative as reinforcement in their advertising. And it's apparently working because they're still using it, even though they've changed what they're promoting with that type of format for several years now. So yeah, negative response can still generate a positive outcome if it's used correctly.
Yes, if you know how to do it.
I think
Or if
the
you stumble
commercials
on
for
it
Wendy's.
accidentally.
I think the commercials for Wendy's are a little bit different here in Canada because I don't recognize that outline. All we see right now for Wendy's is Baconator ads for Wendy's. These mass 3-patty 6 bacon burgers that they're advertising right now. So
I think we should distinguish too between response and reaction, because the impression that the commercials make is negative, but the response is to buy more hamburgers. Now, if there's a crossover there and they can make that happen, then you're successful. If you leave a bunch of people throwing burgers at your windows, that would be a problem.
This is for sure. Now I'm looking at the time and I see that we've lost one participant already. I need to respect people's time, but before we close, Susan, I wondered whether you had any observations. I know you're sort of new at all of this, but I wondered if there was any a question or a comment or an idea that you would like to share.
Thanks, Lolan. As you say, a lot of it is relatively new to me. My videos are all embedded on my website, and there are links to them from my book that I'm about to put up on Amazon. So that's how I've used videos, and it's been an intriguing process, and I plan to use videos more in the future. So about this morning, I really appreciate the depth of knowledge that you have, so many of you, about technology and about marketing. It's good. Thank you. I appreciate being able to be here.
Susan, did you say you're releasing a book on Amazon?
Yeah.
That's awesome. May I recommend future YouTube videos for your book and do book readings? Very small little book readings that would drive a potential tremendous amount of traffic to your offer.
How would book readings help, Jay? How would you use that?
Well, basically, so I don't know what the book is about, but basically, I would imagine there's, obviously a number of different chapters. Each chapter would have kind of a different topic, right? So it's a way to get insight into the book, and obviously you write an abstract within the description. Susan said that she embeds her videos, so that would then correspond to a blog post, which would also have an abstract of that particular chapter or a summary of the book, and it would really capture, it would build Susan as an author and an authority within the niche that she would be in with her book. And also, it's a little bit more unique than your typical Amazon author, or your author for that matter. A lot of authors feel that they need to keep the content of their book close to the heart and not reveal anything, And mind you, if it's a mystery book, then obviously you don't want to be, dabbling that. I would imagine it would be based on her profession. So, which is one of the reasons why I recommend this, because it's a fascinating topic, and I think it would really bring a lot of traffic to your channel and site.
Thanks, Jay. Are you meaning that I would put those videos up on my YouTube channel? Is that what you're suggesting, or that I would spread them around a little more than that?
Well, I mean, I think at the very core, I would do YouTube videos and then embed those videos on your blog posts, but then you can promote them elsewhere. Okay. I know you have a tool of resources within the Amazon author area. Yeah. And I think perhaps Susan and Nathan should have a little bit of a chat somewhere down the road. I do know Nathan's a little bit more experienced in the world of Amazon and the authorship area, but yeah, I know, like, promoting promoting Amazon books through YouTube isn't really done that often. And I think for resource type books, I think it's a really good idea, because it'll drive traffic from YouTube. it'll also drive traffic to your website based on the topics that you talk about, you know. So
Yeah, I'd like to make one suggestion as well. In addition to Amazon, there are a couple of options. One is called Smashwords, but I don't recommend it simply because it's really complicated. A better resource I found, and far easier to use, is an outfit called Draft 2 Digital. So Draft, the number 2 Digital. And they will help you with setting up your book so you can get it into multiple channels like Barnes & Noble and iTunes and a whole bunch of other outlets. And they're really good people to work with and really quite nice. And if you run into problems, they will tell you what you need to do to fix it. They did with me, at least. And I wound up with this one book on a whole bunch of channels within their system, and very nice people to work with.
Great. Thank you, Nathan.
You're most welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now here you go. This is what just happened is what makes me really, really happy. This is what this being your own CEO is supposed to be all about. So
thanks, Lola.
So I think it's time for us to stop the broadcast. So I'm going to lightbox Bill, and let's see what happens. I will. So I want to thank everybody for joining me in the conversation. And if you want to see more resources suited to solopreneurs, do visit my Google connection. It's called Supports for Solopreneurs. I have the Being Your Own CEO community on Google. And I also have a Being Your Own CEO group on Facebook. So please do visit. And finally, please connect to those folks in the green room. As you can hear, there's a lot of expertise here and a lot of willingness to share and experiment and figure out how to do things. So thank you all this morning. Please be sure to come back next Tuesday. So that's all for now. And thank you for joining me until next week. And I'm closing the broadcast now.